Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Tokushikai Inside Look podcast. This episode is brought to you by our amazing patrons over at Patreon, who have generously donated as little as a cup of coffee to as much as the cost of a bowl of ramen per month. You can find episode videos for these interviews as well as deeper dives into other subject matters at patreon.com/Tokushikai Canada. If you are enjoying this work, please consider supporting us.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, my name is Tomas Miranda. I'm from Chile. Now I'm living in Japan from 2000. The last year, 2000. UQ. I only now speak, Japanese every time, so I cannot speak like. But 2019, I'm living in Japan, so 1 year and 6 months around, and I have been doing Kendo for over 20 years already. I start at the age of 13, around 13 years old, and doing Kendo non-stop. I tried sometimes other Budo in the way, but I continue with Kendo. It was the real thing that moves me. And in the same path, I followed this practice, right? The Kendo, the Budo way, but it led me to meet people, and at the end to meet this work, leading me to live in Japan at the moment, like kind of working related with Budo, especially with Kendo. I'm working in a Budogu Kendogu company at the moment, and yes, pretty much I'm 33 years old, so 33 years old, which 20 was Kendo, so it was like I always have been doing Kendo for my for my experience, like always Kendo had been there from really young age. High school is like always Kendo, choosing Kendo over or other activities, sometimes people invite me to do some stuff and I know I have to do Kendo or whatever. So
Yeah,
it was
so
like
so
this.
someone from Chile doing a lot of kendo
Mm,
nowadays, like in 2020, that's not
yes.
so uncommon. But back
Mm,
when you first started, there probably wasn't very much kendo around. So what was popular back then in your town? Like what part of
mm,
Chile were you from? And
yeah.
then what was popular back then with the kids? And then how did you discover
Mm.
kendo?
Yes, you are totally right. In that time, well, I'm from Santiago. It's like the biggest city, like the main city, the capital of Chile. And at the moment, I think, in a way, anime started to be really a big hit. A lot of different anime. In my time was, for example, Rurouni Kenshin. And so a lot of people may be looking for some kind of not really necessarily kendo, but some kind of martial art related with this kind of samurai or something like this, and also with Japanese culture. So it started to be like a boom in Chile around that period. I think like 20 years ago, but kendo, funny enough, when I started, there were more people than now, I believe, if I'm not wrong. There were a lot of people doing kendo, maybe not like in a high level, but the beginner and the middle, let's say middle level. It was a big group in Santiago and in other cities in Chile. There were much, like really big number of kendoka. And in the way so many things happen, I believe, kendo is also kind of expensive in the things in the shinai. You always have to buy shinai, which is many times super difficult because Chile is super far off every other place, like even tenogui, normal things, you cannot access to this. So always was like a super, how can I say it, like it's not about the money, but it's difficult to access to this kind of kendogu, budogu, and everything. So it was difficult to in that area to practice kendo and continue, and also to take the examination. For example, everyone, myself included, has to travel to other countries to take every examination. Even I remember, yes, even Shodan, even the first time I had to travel outside, overseas to take the examination because it was not possible with the actual level in Chile. So also that like kind of not only time consuming, like the sacrifice, like your own schedule of life to, travel to take the examination, to go to CI, to learn more Kendo, you need to travel. So it was like, at that time was this kind of, a little difficult to improve maybe.
So was it your parents were taking you around, or was it when you were a little older, did you start doing this moving around the countries?
Yes, moving around was always with my dojo, in like with my senpai, sensei, was like a dojo thing, more than my family always supported me, but it was more like with the peers, with my kendo, my kendo fellows kendoka and friends. But usually we did like go to CI in the country, but when we have to take the examination, for example, Brazil or I don't know, Argentina, like the countries that were like kind of near, right? Not so far. We travel as dojo or as federation, like the federation members or the national team members. Everyone get together like a group and go just to take the examination or just to do CI or both many times.
So you were not you weren't an adult yet. That means like your parents would sign a sheet saying,
At the
"I let
beginning,
my
yes.
kid." Yeah.
Yeah, you are right. I totally forget this. Yes, at the beginning, I remember the first time I think they signed something. You are right. Yes. Yeah, I forget about this.
So at that time, your parents were already trusting the dojo people, the senseis and the senpai, to take care of you, make sure that you don't accidentally run into the street and get run over by a bus or anything.
Yes, yes, the sensei of that time, one of the sensei, because there were many like high level sensei. One of them, Chilean, was really like, how to say, like he supported me also, like he maybe saw something in me, so he's constantly until this day he always has like been there, really present, and always like give me a hand, like help me with everything, like if I have problems in any area he will be there. So it's like my family also trust this sensei. And yes, was a big thing to have somebody that is not only practicing with you but also like not pushing but supporting, yes, supporting to continue this. Yes, super
So at the
important.
same time, you were putting so much of your effort and your energy into Kendo as a kid, but you still had to go to school and there were still like expectations of going to university. And then your friends
Yes.
were also doing other stuff. So do you remember when you were so focused on Kendo, what were your peers thinking? Like were your friends more of the gaming type or your friends more of the studying type? And then
Mm.
how did you manage time with them and with Kendo?
Yes, in a way, as you said at the beginning, kendo is not well known. Like in the country, or like normal people, they hear kendo and it's like, karate. It's like, or I don't know. They don't think, they don't even hear about the word kendo. And so always I had to explain like kendo, yes, it's like Japanese fencing, or yes, it's like kind of related with samurai or Japanese culture, or something like this. So, and from that point it's like, oh, okay, and you practice a lot, it's like your hobby, right? But for me, maybe at the beginning, maybe a kind of hobby, I don't remember anymore, but kind of rapidly start to, how to say, like to become something really important, essential in my life. So it was like not a hobby for me. Even when I was young, it was more than a hobby, like something I really was looking for every day, every practice, like I was thinking in Kendo, like how to improve. And so when I have like different activities, or like friends invite me to do other stuff, if I could go, of course, I wanted to share with my friends, and like normal normal people do. But if I have to the next day, for example, to wake up early to have a tournament or a practice, the last the if they have a party, for example, I probably won't go and choose Kendo over this kind of social activities. So in a way, my friends, every I had the like I was lucky. My friends understand this also. Like, he loves Kendo and he's like mad about it. So they were present. They were not like how to say, like leaving me behind. It was also good for me, like not be feeling alone. But sometimes, like, I cannot help it. But it was like, I'm at the end, it's like a lonely path in that area, because Kendo was everyone in the dojo always. Yes, almost everyone in the dojo at the moment was older than me, I believe. And like after 2 or 3 years doing Kendo, like a new generation came, like more than my age, so start again, like to become like a different color of the practice for for a while. But until then, it was like sometimes a little lonely, but never like something bad. Like, it always, from the beginning, I found this passion in Kendo in somehow in the practice. So even I didn't feel this loneliness. I say it now because, like, thinking back then, but in reality, Kendo it was enough to continue this path.
Yeah, I feel like I've realized over the course of all these interviews I've done that it's actually a bad question to ask someone why did they choose it, because it's not something conscious. You probably
Ah,
weren't thinking about choosing Kendo. It just
mm,
became something that was your day.
mm,
You would go, and there was no choice. It was just that this is me, this is my life.
mm.
So one thing I'm super interested in is, um, yes, we found these martial arts. Like same thing when I
Mhm,
found Iaido. When you found
mhm.
Kendo, you were doing things different than your friends. If you
Right.
had not found Kendo, looking at what
Mhm.
your friends are doing now, what would you have gotten into? Would you have been more of like a board gamer? Would you have been into sports? Were you, like, what are your friends doing now that if you didn't find Kendo, you would be doing with them?
Right. Yes. First, I would like to say, like, when I was very young, a kid, really, I don't know, 5 years old or maybe even younger. Uh, I was really a hyperkinetic. Do you say this word? I don't know. Hyperkinetic,
Yeah, hyperactive, maybe we would say.
active. Yes, like a, how to say, like, is a kid that run all the time, like, non-stop, all time energy, full of energy, like jumping, maybe screaming. I was this kind of kid. So I was not diagnosed with something special, but labeled as this kind of kid, hyperkinetic, which it was the word at the moment. Maybe it changed, I'm not sure. And so in a way, I always have been like toward to movements, like, in regards to movement, I was like, okay, this is good, I can move, so I feel good, so I continue, like sports or whatever activity I can move. It was better for me than, like, for example, study quietly a book, for example. Even when I was like, I don't, maybe 14 years old or 15, I don't remember right now, but I went to like a counselor, uh, for like get better and study and way, like study in a better way. And this 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 counselor told me, like, oh, you need to move while studying, like take the book and walk around or something like this. And it was really helpful also to understand, like, oh, it's just like a feature or something different. And Kendo, in a way, helped me to maintain this, like, not only posture, physical posture, but like a state maybe. So I found, like, I'm not sure if peace is the word, but find a inner balance maybe. So even in kamae, when you do kamae, you cannot be moving around and jumping, or like even the shina, you cannot move like super widely because you will get hit, you will open the guard. So I found this kind of inner kamae, the kigamae maybe, which helped me to become more patient, or more like change this behavior. So a lot of people that met me when I was kid, and then like many years, I don't know, 20 years after, they say like, oh, this is Thomas, really? What happened to you? Like, did you become a monk? Like, what happened with this kid that was like all the time screaming and jumping? Like, so in a way, Kendo teach me this, I don't know, this, I don't know how to explain, but change my behavior, but in a good way. Of course, it's not like I'm more focused, maybe something like this, like change my type of focus. And well,
So
my,
was that
yes,
noticeable when, like, that should have been seen by all your friends and especially your teachers at school, but you
yeah,
started kendo like when you said 13, so there was
yes,
still a period
exactly.
of time where you were at school. Did the teachers start seeing that, or did your parents realize, oh, the teachers aren't complaining as much about Thomas anymore
uh,
in those early days?
yes, at the beginning, I'm not sure in which age was like the real change, like the visible change, but there is no doubt that it was like a fast, like rapidly, quickly change from when I start Kendo, and maybe the same year I was already like more focused, more more center maybe. So maybe at the age of 13, 14, I must be changed. I'm not sure. And yes, and with my friends, I didn't like answer fully your question, your previous question. That with my friends, they usually also did a lot of sports. So it was different sport, like kind of soccer, basketball, like different kind of sports. But I have this kind of sports group of friends, and also like more towards to maybe kind of board games, or more nerdy, like not nerd, but more like towards non-sports activities. So I have these two kind of areas to share experience. So Kendo was in the two areas. Like I can enter with sports because Kendo is like a sport, but also like it has all this Japanese culture and all these different kind of point of view, which is not only sport, which is of course the Budo uh, part. So it was actually not a bad, like it was not something that separates me from my friends. Maybe the opposite.
So how did going to Japan come into the picture? Was that something you've been thinking about for a long time and then eventually an opportunity came up, or was it like, I'm just going to do it and then it happened?
Yes, there was a time that becomes like super, how to say, like is eventually I need to go to Japan if I wanted to become stronger in Kendo. Like there I don't remember, but it was a time like I say to myself, okay, there is no other way. Like okay, I can continue doing Kendo in Chile and it's fun and everything, but I have already seen the Kendo oversees the level of other people, and the difference are like something that I cannot grasp, something like that I cannot understand. So I need to go to maybe the where Kendo start to start to really understand this art, what I'm doing, like why I do this and this way. Even I had good sensei and Japanese sensei in Chile. Uh, well, the culture is different. So also the people around, even if they are everyone was like really uh, friendly and support me. I wanted to know how was like the culture around Kendo in Japan, like the base, how was. So I heard that it was a course, a special program called Bekasei, the Beka program in International Budo University. And one of my senpai already went. Two people went before me to this university. So when I heard this was possible, I just wanted to go there because it was like a real possibility to go to Japan and to be able to practice Kendo and continue in this Budo world. And so I went. So yes, I finished high school. Right away, I went to Japan. So at the age of 18, I went to Japan 2 years until 20, around 20. Yes. And yes, it was like, it was just exactly I was expecting. Like my dream comes, it was like, here is the place where Kendo started, and I can see why. Like I do with this person, and it's totally different understanding of it. It's not just the level, it's not just the techniques, it's just the culture and like the way of doing everything. It has a meaning. Like they do day in before in the dojo, but also they do day in other aspects. It's not just the martial art that do this kind of deiho and deigi. Is more like the Japanese culture is like this, and that's why in Kendo we do that, this and that, for example. So I start to understand a lot of like the meaning behind why we do this and that, the Zen part of when we do Zeiza, for example.
But when you went, you didn't feel like there's some people when they go to Japan or when they go just anywhere that's very different from their home country, they get a little bit of a culture shock and they're like, whoa, this is too different from me. Did you have any of that? And if not, like, why do you think you fit in?
Yes, at the beginning, of course, it's super different, but before going to Japan, I prepare a little bit with a Japanese friend I had at that moment, Kendoka. And with him, I studied Japanese, but also he taught, teach me some, how to say, like, speak about Japan, like a little bit, not only the language, but like, not the rules, but in Kendo also we kind of start to learn how to deal with the people that are above us, how to behave in the dojo, outside the dojo with the sensei, for example. So in a way, I had a little preparation. Like when I came to Japan, was like, oh, if I do as in Kendo, I may may go through with it. It's like it's not that different. But sometimes, especially now that I'm working in Japan, sometimes I get like I cannot think in this way, and until they say, oh, why you didn't do this in this way? But I never saw like what they wanted me to do. So I see in that moment like, yes, it's just we were raised in different cultures, so it's just it's totally different in that point. But in terms of course the culture is different, but in terms of impact or shocked, not that much, because I was really expecting to come to Japan and to absorb everything I have around me. So it was just absorbing everything. Like it was every day, like learning. More than shock, was like, oh, okay, this is like this, and try to learn, absorb. Yes.
So after a while, it like for someone that's living there now, you kind of make the switch from, oh, Japan's this really fun place that I can go to travel and it's fun being a tourist. But then eventually, like any type of thing, when you switch to, now I'm working here, now I'm living here, now I have to get like health insurance, I have to find a doctor, I have to find get a like an address, rent a place. Could you talk about that switch and like all the different things that you had to go through to adapt and then settle down?
Yes. Yes, you are right. The first time when I came to Japan was easy because I just went to the university and they did everything. Like if I had to do some paperwork, it was super easy. They just gave me like, okay, you do this and that, and I follow the steps, right? But on this time, I came and it's like, okay, now you work, and they almost say nothing. You just work. Even the like, what should I do? Even that they didn't tell me. So I need to start to learn for myself everything and to look up like how to do this and that. Also, they help me in the company to do different kind of, for example, the Saito card, the foreign card, like ID that you need to have as a foreigner living in Japan. In the beginning, they helped me a lot, but when I have to take it again, like to renovate, I did it almost by myself. So I have been doing a lot of paperwork that I have no idea what the words mean, what they wanted really, but yes, like in some way, overcoming this kind of, it's just paperwork, but it's kind of stressing, right? Like, it's the first time you are seeing this, and some things are not even the same, like not required, but the same kind of transaction I would do in Chile is totally different, the way of doing it, for example. So that was kind of really a stress time. But after doing everything, overcoming everything, paperwork, finding a place to live back in Kumamoto, I felt kind of great because, okay, I can, by myself, I can do it. Even if I'm not super good at Japanese, I can do it in a way like, oh, I'm starting to understand, okay, it's just like, I can do it. But after that, I met my actual fiance, and everything get a little easier, of course. If my fiance is Japanese, so it's like it gets a little easier. But also, as Japanese, I can see that even Japanese, they don't understand many paperwork or stuff, because maybe, as you already know also, Japan is super, how do you say, the bureaucracy is super complex. Sometimes it not only take times, but it's super complicated. It has a lot of stuff that you have to do in a certain steps. Otherwise, everything will be wrong and you have to do it again. So yes, it become easier now in a way, but
Yeah.
still.
So there's all these difficult things that you had to go through, but you had decided that, okay, I'm just going to do it because this is where I want to live. This is what I want to do. How did you make those choices? Like after those 2 years at IBU, you went back to Chile and then you said, okay, I've had enough time in Japan. I understand what it's about. I'm going to go. Like, how did you make that decision? And then how did you decide where to live, what to do when you're there? Like, where would you go to find like a social life? How did you make all these choices about living in Japan?
Yes, when I was in an International Budo University, in the second year, I was thinking like the possibility of staying more in Japan, like studying something like a career, a real career in Japanese university, of course, in Japan. But I I have like the doubt because it was kind of expensive, so it will be kind of a burden for my family at that time, because it's already, I needed money to be there in Japan at that time, so it will become kind of a lot of money. So at the end, I choose to go back to Chile, and maybe in the future go back to Japan. I was thinking like, okay, I made it one, so I can go again maybe. But when I came back to Chile, it was like, okay, I have now to do the normal life. I already spent 2 years. That my friends, every peer is already 2 years ahead of me, kind of. That was the feeling. So I started university in Chile. How do you say this in English? It's like kinesiology, we say in Spanish, but
Oh
in
yeah, it's
English,
the same
the same,
kinesiology.
kinesiology, right? So I wanted to like keep things together with Kendo being kind of sport. If I studied kinesiology, I could like, in a way, find again the moment to combine Kendo with my job, I thought in that moment, right? But after a while, after 2 years and a half studying kinesiology, I was like, this is not what I want to do. It's not the same. Like, so I changed my career for another related with health, but totally different. The name is integrative health, and you see like a lot of kind of different therapies, all like related with the body, but also with the mind. And when I finished this, like after 4 years, I, of course, every like while studying, I was continuing with Kendo, doing CI examination, traveling to like different kind of events in different parts, not in Chile, overseas. Even I came again to Japan for the World Kendo Championship in 2015. But I was not already, like I forget in that time, like if like that I can come to Japan to work and live. I have forgotten totally because I was so like involved on, like I have to go make my life fast because I spent 2 years and everyone is already like ahead. So I was kind of like pushing myself to do stuff at the moment. But in reality, always Kendo has been the, like the real motivation, but I had to do what people do. So I need to study and to, have a work and everything. And, but it comes a time that I had to struggle with this, like, oh, I need again this Japanese part, not only the language, like I felt like I lost some connection. Even if I continue doing Kendo, meeting a lot of Japanese people that came for Kendo or Sensei or whatever, but at the end it was like something is not enough, even with my work. And so at that moment I started to practice again, to study Japanese just for my own, and I start to look Japanese related jobs in Chile, like in the, for example, the embassy, the Japanese embassy in Chile, and these kind of jobs, like more not related with Budo or martial arts. And luckily, I didn't succeed on those interviews, so that led me to like ask around my friends, oh, do you know some way that I can work with, in Japan, or maybe something related with Japan in my country. And a friend of mine that was living and came back from Japan at that time, he told me, oh, he has the information to contact this Japanese company about Bogu. Maybe you can ask about it. So I asked, and the good thing is somebody else that I met when I came to Japan 10 years ago, like a senpai, Japanese senpai, he knew the boss of this company. So he gave me the contact, like the number, his number. So I contact directly from Chile to the boss of this company. So I speak directly with him, and he said like, oh, really? Like, oh, okay, why you are calling me? Like, oh, really? You want to work here? Oh, okay, like send your, your resume, and we will see what happened. And I send the stuff, and then he called me, and because we have like the, how to say, the time difference is so big. I remember the boss called me at 3 a.m. in Chile. I like wake up and the boss told me like, yes, please come to Japan. I hire you. Like, okay, this is the money and whatever. And from that point, it was like 2 months after that, I came to Japan. Like, it was kind of fast, really, really quick. I just find this opportunity. I contact the guys at the company, and then the boss contact me back. And I went, yeah, really quickly with everything.
Oh wow,
Until, yeah.
that's amazing. Like
Yes.
how did you even know that senpai you had known in Japan?
Yes.
How did you know to ask him about if he like the number?
Yes, because it was just by chance. In reality, it's like my Chilean friend told me like, oh, these two companies are, looks like they're looking for, for people to work, like they are doing boshu. How do you say boshu in English? Hire. They are hiring people to they need people. These two companies, big companies, and I sent email to both, and they didn't reply me. And just by chance, this other Japanese senpai, uh, he saw something, maybe I post something, I don't remember exactly, in Facebook, but he contacted me and say, oh, I know this company, I know the boss. And then he gave me directly the phone number.
Oh wow! So it could have been something like, "Oh,
Yes,
I
yes,
just applied to this company. They didn't reply back," and
exactly.
then he saw it on your board or something.
Yes,
Wow, that's
yes.
so amazing.
So
And then I'm dying to know what was in your resume that made him so excited to hire you.
uh,
What did you send to
yes,
him?
basically, basically, my resume, it has, of course, my job experience, but it has also my Kendo records. Like I have been doing not only Kendo, practice Kendo, but also competing in an international level. So in the international level, I also get kind of far in the Latin American championships, and in the World Kendo Championship. Once also I get kind of uh, in the maybe best 16, 1632. I'm not sure if in which category, but I get like kind of ahead in the individuals, and a lot of people start to recognize me. So when he saw all of this, he say to me in the phone like, oh, this can be really useful, because we are we want to become like strong in the international community. And so they are hiring or looking for people that can have some interaction with a lot of kendo, like foreign overseas kendo, not only his own community. So boss actually saw this resume, like the kendo part and not the job experience. Actually my my company, now it's changing, but at the beginning everyone was like hired more with the kendo, like the kendo level, more than the job abilities, like the skills.
So how have you seen like the work being done? Like first, um, how has that experience, that Kendo experience, helped you in your job right now? And then second, if the company hires more for that and less for the actual job, how has it been working there? Like, does it feel
Yes.
we're running as a good company?
I will reply first your second question. When I went to Kumamoto, at the beginning was in Kumamoto, the company was already running kind of not good. And even me, that even without experience of this kind of company, I realized at the moment, like at the first day of work, I realized, oh, this is not good. Like there are so many things that are not really working or are working poorly. So we need to change a lot of stuff. But me, beginning from the lowest point, like I cannot change anything. So it was super like frustrating. Maybe the first 2 months for me was super bad. Like I think in, okay, I cannot continue this. I will go back to Chile. This is impossible. Like the work was not possible. Just like this, it was really difficult. And but in a way, of course I start to do kendo, and that like motivates me again. Like, okay, I have kendo, so maybe if I continue a little bit, something may change, or I don't know. So I just continue, and even if the work was like kind of, how to say, like it was, I have to do many tasks, but it was not really defined, or not, let's say not defined, but nobody knew how to do the stuff that they asked me. And so I tried to do in some way or another way, but because I was the lowest, I didn't have the freedom to do everything or in my way. So it was super difficult to really move forward to this different task that they are asking me. And but anyway, I continue. I did kendo, a lot of kendo, and in a way, the company a little start to become a little better. But a lot of people quit, and a lot of people also change jobs, and the companies start to like kind of shrink. And that's when we change from that company in Kumamoto closed for a while. I changed to live now in Saito, in Miyazaki, because here we have a big, how do you say, the factory, the kojo, the factory, Nihon Kendo Seishakusho. Here we changed like the international, how to say, like department. We put the department with the factory, and now we are like doing everything together in the factory, and the national and the international department, they are together here, and they reopen a small shop in Kumamoto. But here is like the big company now in Miyazaki. And here the thing is, we are less people. I I won't gonna lie, but we are just international. We are just two people now. Like it's really small in terms of people, but we need to do the job of I don't know how many people. We have to do every task by ourselves now. But in a way, we learned in Kumamoto a lot of stuff, and now we are able to do it, and we have more freedom. So in a way, it has become better in a way. The job we can do more by our own, and we can move forward with a lot of projects and stuff. But it's also really how do you say, it's not like I'm not now frustrating as the beginning. It was really really tough moment, but now we have so much work that is also like kind of difficult to continue. But again, I have Kendo, and I found now I'm part of a dojo here that everyone is super nice, and they are strong kendoka and sensei, and they look me like part of the dojo. And even if I'm foreign, they really include me with every activity. So it's really for me super good experience in Kendo. In the Kendo is really good experience. So also I have, as I told you before, I'm with my fiance, so we are trying to living a more normal life in terms of job. So I will again try to continue, and let's see what we can achieve this time.
Yeah, so speaking of all these different things that now you have a little bit more freedom, but you have to do so much stuff. What part of your job, like just describing, because we don't know what happens in a Budogu company, what part of your job do you like the most, and what part of your job would you rather not do?
Yes. Well, maybe a lot of people ask me already this question, like, you do men, you do kote, you are like creating the bogu yourself, like building the bogu. But I say like, that may be interesting, but I'm all day doing like, like promote, sending like the commercial aspect, like the business, like contacting people, like doing the, I don't know, looking the website, sometimes doing accounting. Even I have to learn accounting, of course, customer services, preparation, and not delivery, but sending all the packages, and also quality check, like of everything. Sometimes speaking with the factory, and in terms of the materials, on like more of kind of management, and how is the other, like, yeah, kind of management, I would say. And sometimes the only good things of this, maybe the good point that I really like, is that I have access to the not only the materials, but the bogu in the early stage, when they are not bogu, when they are nothing, and I can see the steps, and I can see how they do everything. And if I ask, they tell me everything. Like there is no, they don't need to do it on secretly. Like I had to, of course, to sign a paper to say like, okay, everything I observing now is a secret, like a company secret. I cannot reveal it. But in a way, it's super interesting, and it led me to understand a lot of parts of the kendogu, the equipment. And even I create like my own bogu, not to sell, just for my own pleasure. And it was super nice experience also. And to see the craftsmen working, like everyone is like, even the young ones has like at least 15, 20 years working in his specialization, like in men or in kote. So looking at this is super interesting. It's really great. It's really something different. I wasn't expecting to be with the workers in the factory, but it's actually a good experience. Is I like this part, I think, of the job. Yes.
Okay, so we got to painted a kind of overview picture of
Yes.
you starting Kendo, you traveling to Japan the first time, coming back, and then eventually now you're there and you're pretty much settled. In over the course of the past 20 years, what are a few of your like the more memorable experiences in your Kendo life? Like what are some of the things that you remember as impactful,
Mm.
either it changed you or it's really great memory?
Let me see. Yes, I think was I think I already told you, like the International Budo University was like a big thing in my life, right? To go there in the first time to meeting Japanese culture, to be able to practice Kendo and to start to really dig in on Budo was like the first big cornerstone. And then like maybe I would say in Kumamoto, the last year when I was there, I teach kids also Kendo. And because I came with already with Dokudan, a lot of people, even without knowing me, they already kind of, how to say, like, they recognize me, like, is, oh, okay, you are Dokudan, so you know Kendo. It's like, okay, so they entrust me already with a lot of stuff, like, very easily. This was really different experience when I was before here in Japan. It was totally different at that time. If we say Kendo is a language, at that time I couldn't speak this Kendo language. I was just learning, but now it's totally different. They knew I know Kendo, so like I did also coach for the kids in Kumamoto. I did Shinpan, like I did referee. It was really good experience because there is no foreigner doing Shinpan in a Japanese competition. It was super weird. Always everyone looking me like, oh, there is a foreigner. Why he's doing like Shinpan? Why is coaching? Like it was a new experience. And then hearing, man, that was a big like experience, a memorable experience. And also I met a lot of people. Was really really good to expand my Kendo connections. And then here in Miyazaki, even I'm Saito, it's a town, a really small town, but even here I found a dojo. It was time of really the pandemic, so at the beginning nobody was doing Kendo, so I was like kind of again like really sad. Nobody's doing Kendo. Maybe this town is too small, so there is no dojo. But I found a dojo, and then I met the people here, and it was super good. And there are strong also Kendoka, so it was like, whoa, Kendo is everywhere. Like even here, there's nothing, but there is a Kendo dojo, and they are practicing their kids also. So again, here because I'm Dokudan, they like believe that I know some stuff, and so they consider me even for participating in CI together, like in the practice with the kids. Also, they invite me. Yes, it's in reality super also good experience. This at the moment, like kind of memorable, and I would like to speak about one sensei in particular. This sensei, this sensei is not doing Kendo because he has like an injury now. I'm not sure if he has an accident, but he comes to every practice and he sit with the Hakama Kendogi, and he sits and see everything. And sometimes he came and he says something, you're doing this wrong. And he's Nanadan, he's Kyoshi Nanadan, 7 Dan. And I can see he really loves Kendo, but he cannot do anymore, like physically. So he really studied Kendo and he continued his study. So it was like a really, like, how can I say it? It's a new experience to meet somebody like him, because he's really always there in the dojo, always coming to the, like, the meetings and everything. And even if he cannot do kendo, he is so much in, like, how do I say, like, in this practice every day. Like, I don't know, I can feel his presence even from outside. He's not practicing, but I need to do the best I can do, because he's watching me and he knows more also. And then he comes and he always say something very wise, or he studied a lot, so he knew every, like, concept, really kendo concepts. So he speak me really with a lot of theoretical and sometimes philosophical stuff, and it's super interesting. And I can see this, and it's like, wow, kendo also is this. Kendo is not only, it doesn't stop if you don't move. It doesn't stop there, especially in this time with the pandemic. Seeing somebody like this sensei, it was like a new world open. Like, wow, yes, like this is also a way of doing kendo with, even without moving. And lately, yes, 2 weeks ago, we have like a small CI for the kids, a small tournament for the kids of the dojo, and he performed a kata demonstration. But because he has a injury in his lower back, he cannot move so well, and he feels pain. But he did the demonstration, the kata, all the kata and everything, and you can see the face, like, suffering, but at the same time he was doing, because he wanted to do it. So it was like kind of a memorable experience to see this. Like, wow, like, it was totally different from, like, oh, because it's not about the level of kendo or the technique. Is the spirit that he transmits is maybe more profound. That's the super well done technique. This is another thing. This is another level of understanding. This is
Yeah.
another yes, memorable.
Thank you for sharing that, because I can understand how difficult it is to put it into words, because it really is something that you feel.
Yes.
And like it's hard to speak about it, but when you're in the presence of someone like that, there's just something that, either if you're in practice, then it forces you to be more serious about practice. When if you're watching, then it makes you believe that you can be more than that.
Yes.
And I think that's important for all of us in terms of our practice, in terms of our improvement. We need someone that's above us, that can pull us up, that can inspire us. But also we need someone that's like a peer, someone that is on our level, that continues to push us. And then sometimes we could also use someone that's motivated below us, that we can teach, or that we can help bring up. Do you have people like that you can speak to? You mentioned this sensei, maybe there's another sensei, and then there's someone on your level too that
totally
helps
right.
you.
Well, yes, I agree with you. In Kendo, we have this kind of 3 level, and every Budo, I think, is the same, like the sensei, the peer, your same level, and the kohai, right? And everyone can teach you something. And while I can teach maybe to my kohai, but it's also like a learning experience to teach somebody. So it's really important to continue this 3 like level of understanding Kendo. And in my case, well, I have, yes, met a lot of this kind of great sensei that have inspired me. But for my same level, also it's like super important, my kind of rivals. The rivals are like the ones that inspire me to, like, in a more competitive way, maybe, like, to be stronger than him. Like, I want to win to this guy because it's kind of the same age, maybe the same level, the same dan. So here I met somebody is just like this, also Rokudan, and he's kind of the same age and super strong. I want to win against him always, and he's always like inspire me to and motivate me to continue practicing in different places. Thanks to him, I can practice now in a high school, in Takanabe High School. He introduced me to the sensei there and opened more practice to my schedule already. So I'm really grateful with this Kendo Cup. And back in Chile also, I have a really good friend that was my kind of rival of my same dojo. And with him, we not only fight each other in Kendo, but we also prepare for the tournament together, like practicing outside the dojo, like it's more training, kind of sports training, like aiming for results. Like it was like really good times at the moment because we wanted to become stronger, but not only by defeating ourselves, like also doing together some stuff, like looking some videos and then speaking about this, speaking about the theory, like theoretical points, like not how do you do this and why you do this, like, oh, maybe they think about this. Like, so it was really good times to have a deep conversation about Kendo, not only striking ourselves heads, but also like speaking real like deep stuff that in a way it was so intense, that conversation and the passion we shared together, that when we start to teach our own kohai in the dojo back in Chile, we start to do this also with the kohai, like start to include everyone in kind of after the dojo in the so-called birugeiko, like everyone, like, you know, not only drinking, but the main point was like speaking about the practice and speaking about different areas that maybe in the dojo the time is not enough to go more profound in some concepts. So the kohai really enjoy this, and many of them continue Kendo. Actually, they told us actually continue Kendo for this after Kendo practice, which was like something they never have seen before in other sports or other like activities, that people can uh, start to get together to like speak not only about the art itself, but to many areas that connect Budo with life, with their own work, with their own personal growth. Like we speak so much different areas that Budo, not only Kendo, of course, Budo, every Budo has this power, right, of like uh, helping you to become better human beings at the end. So it was something really special for us, for me, at the moment, and we did that with my peer, and which start just because we were like rivals, and to become better we just need to study more. So we was like these rivals, and until today is really a good, you know, a good, how to say, a good motivation to continue this kind of path of not only training but also understanding and studying more profound the concepts and the theory behind Kendo and Budo.
What's his name? Just to
Yes,
recognize him.
his name is Stefan Domancic, and with him, he didn't came to Japan, but he really put everything to understand the like what I was doing and what I was learning in Japan. He really studied everything, copy me. So we were always like in our own country, we were always like at the final, third and second place, always like every year. And yes, it was super. He is still very super strong, and he just came to Japan for the World Kendo Championship, but not like me to, you know, like practicing long, like 2 years or something like this. And even like this, he get to a level like you can say, oh, you practice in Japan, and not necessarily. He just study a lot, and so this also is like showed me like you can actually in your own country with your own sensei, with your own context, and even not having Japanese sensei or not having access to high level practice, you can achieve many things by yourself if you are, you know, like enough. If you look for the information, there is everything there around there, in books, in internet, in YouTube, in your podcast, for example. There are a lot of information and knowledge that you can access now. Yes.
Yeah, and it's great that you mentioned that, because as someone that purposely moved to Japan for this reason, so that you can be immersed in the culture and do kendo there,
Yes.
to show that there are multiple ways of getting this fulfillment. So some people, but it's all about the hard
Yes.
work. Like if you're back in your home country, you don't have access to Japanese senseis, it's a lot harder to find what you need and to do the practice. But similarly, you're doing it in
Mm.
Japan, it's a lot easier to have
Yes.
access, but then you're away from family, you're away from your
You're
home
right.
culture. So it's difficult both ways, but it's possible. So I think it's great that you're sharing this, and
Absolutely.
it's strong.
Yes.
So this has been a fascinating
Exactly.
conversation. I really enjoyed like just hearing your story. I think um, it provides a lot of guidance for few people in the future, and that's what I'm hoping with a lot of this podcast.
Mm.
Like listening to our
Yes.
peers talk about their experiences is interesting, but I'm hoping also that the next generation that can hear, okay, this is what I can do, this is what's possible.
Right.
Like
Yes.
you're an example of that. That we can motivate more people. So just to wrap it up, I want to ask some like
Yes.
these rapid fire questions, these kind of shorter get to know you style questions. So the
Sure.
first one is, do you have a quote or a proverb or a motto or something that, a phrase that you think about?
Right. I have a lot of. Sometimes I use some words to focus my practice. Like I don't know, I want to do this or that. But lately, the sensei I told you before, he say a concept that it actually is for fifth dan examination. But now I understood more what it meant, and the concept is Ichigan Nisoku Santan Shiriki, uh, in parentheses, go Kendo, which means first Ichigan is to see. In Kendo and in Budo, we need to see the opponent, we see ourselves. It's not you just you don't blindly do the Kihon you learn. You need to see to react and to do something like logically. And then the Nisoku, the second point. The first is watch, observe. The second point, it would be the movement of the feet. You need to move your body and not necessarily the strong with your hand to move the shinai. It's not necessarily the important point. You need to move your feet and be like really in the correct distance, the mile with your aite, with your opponent. So the feet is actually the second point, important point in kendo at least. And santan, tan meaning this bigger, like how to say, like the like your inner. It's not emotion. It's like this courage you need to show when you're doing a waza, because if you strike men, it means you open other part of your guard is open, so they can hit you back. If you strike, they can hit you. So you need courage. You cannot be okay, I will strike, but like a little bit because I don't want to get hit. No, you need to go 100%, and you can lose in that moment, but that's why you need courage. So first you observe everything, you move towards, and you move in, and you put yourself in a good position, and then you show this courage to achieve a certain goal, which in this time would be the strike. And sensei told me, like, after you do this, start kendo. Like kendo start after this. You need to really. That's why sometimes people that don't practice so often, they appear one time and they won against everyone, even without practicing years. It's not only because they are good at kendo. It's because sensei just explained me this. Like, it's because, for example, they can see well what is happening, so they adapt. Even if they have not good kendo, or they are like not practicing, they adapt at the moment, and they can overcome this, or overcome the opponent. And the second point, also, like the movement of the feet. Sometimes it's just, if you move more the feet, you can. It's just that is you can access to new like possibilities, opportunities. You can open more chances to strike. And the same with the courage. Sometimes you are so like thinking about the winning or the losing, that you forget that you need to forget everything. In reality, you need to throw everything to strike only one strike, to do it entirely with your own body, your mind, everything you have. with courage. So is like these points are, I understood this before as like concept, but when Sensei told me like, oh, okay, I want to do it in like really, I want to do it in the practice, like each practice. I want to see what is happening, react accordingly, strike really with courage, moving my feet, putting myself in the right positions with my body. Like, so I'm doing this right now.
And then shiriki.
Yes, shiriki. Shiriki is the movement. Like, it's not the movement. It's like the force, the strength you put with your hand in each blow, because we use a weapon. So you could use like the brute force, like just force, right? But in shiriki, it means you use like the, how do you say, like your finger, your hand. You use this detailed movement. The fineness of the movement is what you need to strike with. If it was a katana, for example, or in Iaido, you cut, right? You cut not with the brute force. You need to do it in a correct angle. For example, the katana must be in a correct position and angle, so the brute force would like turn the katana. Maybe if you just use the muscle just to strike rapidly, the katana wouldn't be this like beautiful line that should make to cut like correctly. So shiriki is also like very important to do before you start to do your own kendo. My sensei told me, yeah, that you must focus on these points, and then you start to do your own kendo, which means like your waza, men, do, whatever. Yes. Shiriki.
Yeah, no, I've heard this before, and I really
Yes.
love this framework because it's in a way it's very elegant, it's very simple, and yet it contains all the depth of which there is in Kendo. Because you can look at someone and
Yes.
say, you're at the wrong step, go back a few steps. You're not
Yes.
even seeing the opponent yet. You don't know what you're trying to do. Go back. So yeah, that's a very good quote.
Yes, it's difficult.
So another question would be, let's go to this one. What is your comfort food? What is something that you like to eat when you're sad or when it's your birthday and you want to be happy? What's this food?
Yes, well, I love Japanese food. Like I love to eat also. I eat a lot, and now I have I'm really luckily that my fiance, she does a really she's laughing. She does really good job. Good job doing the meals and everything. She likes really to to do Japanese kind of meals. So I'm really loving it. Every time I'm just like expecting what to eat today, like really looking forward what I will be eating today. And in reality, there is not one only. This plate is like my favorite. I would say Japanese cuisine is like I love everything. Maybe fish, meat, vegetarian kind of stuff also is really, yeah. Japanese cuisine is everything I like. I like everything, I think.
Yeah, but I'm going to make you have to make a choice. So
A choice, okay.
yeah, it's your birthday tomorrow.
Yes.
You're gonna ask your fiance to cook something. What are you gonna ask her to make?
Yes, something that we enjoy eat together a lot is nabe. Nabe, like with everything, like putting everything, the vegetables, the piece of meat, and the tofu, and to have a really rich kind of soup, rich kind of nabe is really good, and have the thing there, like it makes it like the, how do you say, like the pan, the pot. You have the pot right there, and doing everything there is like really not only the taste, but it's really something like different maybe with my country. So it's something like I enjoy much, very much.
Yeah, and especially in the wintertime as it gets cold, it's like
Yes.
nothing's better than that.
Totally.
So last question before we wrap up. If someone were to log into your YouTube account, because YouTube will recommend you videos based on what you've watched before,
Yes.
what are the kind of videos someone would see that YouTube recommends to you?
Yes, of course, Kendo. You will see right away. It's also like maybe yes, like I think 90% Kendo, and the other is like Budo, like different kind of Budo. Sometimes I watch, of course, like different Ryuha or Koryu or different kind of stuff. Yes, but totally Kendo and Budo related videos.
Sorry, actually, I had another question that I wanted to ask you.
Please.
Since you've done a lot of traveling around South America, Latin America, and you went to Japan for these events or going to the World Championships, what is something that you always take with you? Something that's maybe not related to the kendo, not your actual shinai bag and
Yes.
bogu and stuff, but when you're traveling, what is something that you feel like you always have to take with you?
Yes, I actually like to be. I don't like to have too many stuff with me. I really like this kind of simple, like kind of Zen, like kind of n- nothing is more. Like I need to have more like freedom or space in a way. So I try to don't go with almost nothing. So every time when I travel, but I would say now of course everyone is right with the smartphone, the cell phone, right, like, but here with my job especially, the cell phone is really important, like is like connecting with my job at the end, and also because is like the access to everything with my family now being like really far from my country is like the only tool that connects me in a way to with my family. So is it before, even in Chile, back in Chile, I didn't take my cell phone, my smartphone every time. I really didn't like that much that to have this always in my pocket. But now it becomes a necessity. Of course, almost everyone in the world is like this, but for me, it's a necessity. Like it changed from compare it with before.
Cool. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me. I know it's what it's your evening right now just
Yeah,
before. Oh no,
no,
it's a
it's
morning.
morning.
It's a morning
Yeah,
just before work.
it's
Yeah.
good. No, it's good. Don't worry.
Okay. Cool. So just to wrap this
Yes.
up, is there any message that you want to leave with the audience? Some thoughts or something you want to share with everyone listening to this?
Yes. Well, thank you first for inviting me. This has been a pleasure. I would want to wrap it out with like well, sometimes people think coming to Japan or working in Japan or practicing in Japan might be fun and might be, well, it is fun, but might be like the best to do. Even in other Budo, I think it's kind of the same. But in reality, as you say before, like the cultural shock, maybe impact or the difference with your own culture, being far from your family, your friends, the necessity to adapt to new things every day is it can be really stressful and is really demanding. And I believe a lot of people already in my company, people sometimes came to after 2 weeks they quit. So it's really like, how can I say this? Uh, People sometimes think it would be easy or you will become automatically strong in kendo or in other budo just because you came to Japan. But I have been also in touch with other people that came to Japan even 1 or 2 years, and they didn't actually get so much better actually, and they have like maybe bad experience, like they yeah, like hard experience, hard times. So in reality, I wanted to say like maybe for many people it's like a dream to come to Japan in so many ways, but just be aware or cautious, precautious, like take care of yourself and your well-being, that uh, you will need to do a lot of stuff many times, and you will need to choose like many times, like you want to continue, why you want to continue. Maybe it's kendo, maybe it's your budo, maybe you have another goals, and maybe only the goals, your project will be the only thing that will motivate and will help you to continue in these hard times and stressful and things that you have to adapt. And so for myself was Kendo, was trying to establish like a life to settle up, right? My life, not only in Kendo, that like to have now my fiance, to be able to work more steadily, like more like to have a base to where to stand myself. So Japan may be a dream for many people, but just take care and be aware that you will need to really work hard to be here and to continue being here. Is not so easy. And yes, it's not magic that you will become better in Kendo or better in Japanese. You will need to work hard. I'm sure every in every country will be the same, but especially if your culture, for example, Latin American culture is kind of really different, I think, with Japanese culture in so
It
many
is so
ways.
different.
Yes,
Yeah, I can
so
see that.
so it will be like a shock. A lot of people ask me like, "Oh, I want to go there. How can I work maybe in the same company as you?" And because some of those people were my friend, I told them the truth. Like, in reality, don't come. Like, I know you. You won't be, like it won't be. You won't be happy if you come. I know you. Like, is really this life what you want? Like, so I try to not how to say I try to say the truth, like the every color of this experience, not just the good points. Of course, it has good points, but a lot of people that I know want like the bad points, the low points would be so much that yes, like it's difficult. I think to you have to be really focused on what you want, and even on that point, myself include, I wanted to go back or to quit the job so many times, but yes, it's just hard work that you have to continue doing. It's just like Budo. You just
Yeah, no,
continue.
thank you for that message, because it's so clear. And what it's really made me recognize too over the course of this hour where we have been talking is that you're not looking for something that's easy.
Mm,
You're not looking to relax. You're not looking to be even to be happy.
mm,
You didn't go to Japan because you wanted to be happy. There was something that was missing, and
yes,
what you got was fulfillment. And
right.
that's not the same thing. People think, oh, I'm going to succeed. I'm going to be so happy.
Mm,
I'm going to get to train all day. That's just going to be fun. It's not fun.
right.
It's about being a whole person. It's being complete,
Mhm.
and that takes a lot of hard work. And what you're saying, it would really resonates with me that way too. So yeah, keep it up, because yeah, I
Thank you
know
very
it's
much,
hard.
Patrick.
I know it's
Yes.
hard. But you made the right decision. So
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes, well, you put it in nice words. Like, yes, that's the message. And thank you very much. I will continue doing my best.
thank you. And I'll see you next time we're in Japan, hopefully.
Oh, yes, hopefully. Yes, totally. Yes,
Yeah, I
I
was
hope
supposed to come
this.
twice
Yes.
this year. I was supposed to come in
Oh,
March and then again in
okay.
November, but yeah, both got canceled. So
I'm
we'll
sure.
see.
Yes. Yeah, I'm looking forward for it, and the pandemic should stop. Some, at least if last year was yes, it has already 1 year being in the pandemic. So I
Almost,
hope,
yeah.
yes, I hope next year become better. Yes.
All
Uh,
right. It's great talking to you. Thank you so much again.
Thank you very much, Patrick.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
bye. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode, because we have a lot more exciting conversations to share as we explore the world of the traditional Japanese martial arts. The Inside Look podcast is made possible by our patrons over at Patreon, so if you enjoy this work and want them to continue, please consider supporting us for as little as a cup of coffee. There are many more ways for us to work together by connecting with us on Facebook and Instagram at tokuskai.canada and subscribing to our monthly newsletter at subscribe.tokuskai.ca. Until next time, thanks for listening.